in a fury that left the entire studio speechless. In just 36 seconds, one comment from Anderson Cooper sent Prince Harry into a meltdown so intense that security had to escort him out of the building. But before we dive into every shocking detail, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we're pulling back the curtain on royalty's dark side, exposing entitled celebrities and their shocking behavior the cameras never showed you. We've got the raw footage they don't want you to see, and you won't want to miss a single reveal. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on this outrageous behavior. Now let's get into what really happened that night. The studio lights were hot. The cameras were rolling. Anderson Cooper sat across from Prince Harry in the iconic 60-minute studio, ready for what everyone thought would be another polished royal interview. But what unfolded instead was a complete disaster that nobody saw coming. Anderson started the interview the way he always does, calm and professional. "Your Royal Highness, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you've been wanting to share your perspective on a number of issues." Harry shifted in his seat, already looking uncomfortable. "Well, I'm here to set the record straight, Anderson. There's been a lot of lies told about me." Anderson nodded, keeping his tone neutral. "Let's start with your recent comments about the royal family. You've been quite vocal about your grievances. Can you help our viewers understand what specifically you're referring to?" And that's when things started to go sideways. Harry leaned forward, his face tightening. What I'm referring to is years of being treated like I don't matter. Years of being the spare. Years of watching everyone bow down to my brother while I'm just there." Anderson maintained his professional composure. "I understand that must have been difficult, but can you give us specific examples?" "Specific examples?" Harry's voice rose slightly. "You want specific examples? How about every single day of my childhood? How about every photo where I'm standing 3 steps behind? How about every headline that made me out to be the troublemaker while William could do no wrong?" Anderson kept his voice steady, trying to guide the conversation back. "Prince Harry, I think what our viewers are trying to understand is..." "Don't," Harry cut him off, pointing a finger. "Don't sit there and pretend you understand what it's like. You have no idea what I've been through." The studio went quiet. Anderson paused, choosing his words carefully. "You're right. I don't know exactly what you've experienced, but I'm here to give you a platform to explain it. That's why we're having this conversation." Harry sat back, crossing his arms. "A platform. Right. So you can edit it and twist my words like everyone else does." "We don't twist words here," Anderson replied, his tone still calm but firm. "We present facts. We let people tell their stories. But we also ask questions that need to be asked." "Questions that need to be asked?" Harry laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Let me guess. You're going to ask me about my family. You're going to ask me about money. You're going to ask me about my wife. It's always the same." Anderson adjusted his papers. "Well, since you brought up your wife, there have been questions about some of the claims made in previous interviews. Some facts have been disputed by..." "Stop right there." Harry held up his hand. "Don't you dare question her. Don't you dare sit there in your comfortable studio and question what she's been through." "I'm not questioning what anyone's been through," Anderson said carefully. "I'm simply noting that there are different accounts of certain events, and..." "Different accounts," Harry repeated mockingly. "You mean you believe them over us? You believe the institution over the people they hurt?" Anderson took a breath. "Prince Harry, I'm not taking sides. I'm trying to have a conversation about..." "You are taking sides." Harry's voice got louder. "The fact that you're even bringing this up means you're taking sides. You're just like all the rest of them. You smile to my face and then you knife me in the back." The camera operators exchanged glances. This was not going the way anyone expected. Anderson remained composed, his years of experience showing. "I understand you're frustrated, but I think we need to take a step back here. I invited you on this program to share your truth, but part of journalism is asking questions, even difficult ones." "Difficult questions," Harry said bitterly. "Is that what you call it?" "I call it harassment. I call it the same treatment I've been getting my whole life." "With respect," Anderson said, his voice still measured, "being asked to clarify your statements is not harassment. It's part of having a public conversation." Harry stood up slightly, then sat back down, clearly agitated. "You don't get it. None of you get it. I came here thinking this would be different. I thought you were different." "I am trying to be fair," Anderson replied. "But fair means asking questions. It means not just accepting everything at face value." "So you're calling me a liar?" Harry's eyes widened. "Is that what this is? You got me here to call me a liar on national television?" "I never said that," Anderson said firmly. I never implied that. What I'm saying is that in journalism we verify. We ask follow-up questions. We seek clarity. Harry shook his head. This is unbelievable. This is exactly why we left. This is exactly why we had to get away from all of this. Anderson leaned forward slightly. But you didn't really get away from it, did you? You've done multiple interviews. You've written a book. You've made a documentary series. You're still very much in the public eye. Because we have to tell our side. Harry's voice echoed in the studio. Because if we don't, people like you will just print whatever lies the palace feeds you. We don't print palace lies, Anderson said, his patience clearly being tested but still holding. We report facts, and part of that is giving you this opportunity. Opportunity? Harry scoffed. You call this an opportunity? Sitting here being interrogated like I'm some kind of criminal? You're not being interrogated, Anderson said. You're being interviewed. There's a difference. Harry rubbed his face with his hands. You know what? I don't need this. I really don't need this. Anderson looked at him carefully. Do you want to take a break? We can pause for a few minutes if you need to. I don't need a break, Harry snapped. What I need is for you to show some respect. I have been respectful, Anderson said, his voice still calm. I've been professional. I've given you space to answer, but I'm also doing my job. Your job? Harry repeated. Your job is to make me look bad. That's what this is really about. My job is to inform the public, Anderson corrected. And part of that is asking questions when things don't add up. Harry's face flushed red. What doesn't add up? Tell me. What exactly doesn't add up? Anderson consulted his notes. Well, for instance, you've talked about wanting privacy, but you've also been very public about your private life. Can you help us understand that contradiction? That's not a contradiction. Harry stood up this time. Really stood up. We wanted privacy from the harassment, from the invasion, from the lies. That's completely different from us choosing to tell our own story. I understand the distinction you're making, Anderson said, still seated and still calm. But can you see how some people might find that confusing? Some people, Harry said with disgust. You mean the haters, the trolls, the people who've been against us from day one. I mean regular viewers who are trying to understand your perspective, Anderson said. Harry started pacing behind his chair. This is exactly what they want. They want me to lose my temper. They want me to look unstable. They want to prove that I'm the problem. Anderson remained in his seat. Prince Harry, nobody is trying to make you look like anything. You're in complete control of how you present yourself right now. In complete control? Harry laughed again. That same bitter laugh. I haven't been in control since the day I was born. Everything has been decided for me. Everything has been managed. Everything has been spun. And yet here you are, Anderson said, on one of the most respected news programs in the world, with complete freedom to say whatever you want. Complete freedom, Harry said sarcastically. As long as I answer your gotcha questions, as long as I defend myself against your accusations. They're not accusations, Anderson said, his voice finally showing a hint of firmness. They're questions. There's a significant difference. Harry pointed at Anderson. Don't lecture me. Don't sit there and lecture me about the difference between questions and accusations. I've been dealing with the media my entire life. Then you should understand that this is how interviews work, Anderson said. Harry's hands were shaking now. You know what? I came here in good faith. I came here thinking we could have a real conversation. But this is just another ambush. It's not an ambush, Anderson said, his voice steady. You knew we would be discussing these topics. Your team approved the general areas we would cover. My team approved a respectful conversation, Harry shot back. Not this. Not you sitting there implying that I'm a hypocrite. I never said you were a hypocrite, Anderson replied. I asked you to clarify what might seem like contradictory positions. That's standard journalism. Harry grabbed his microphone pack. Standard journalism. Right. Standard journalism that destroyed my mother. Standard journalism that's been torturing my wife. Standard journalism that's made my life hell. Prince Harry, Anderson said, standing up now. I understand you're upset. But you understand nothing. Harry's voice was loud enough that people outside the studio could hear it. You sit here in your ivory tower and you judge people. You pick apart their lives. You make money off their pain. I report the news, Anderson said firmly. I ask questions that the public wants answered. That's not judgment. That's journalism. Harry ripped the microphone pack off his belt. This is over. I'm done. I'm not sitting here and letting you disrespect me. Anderson held out his hand in a calming gesture. Nobody is disrespecting you. I'm simply what? Harry interrupted. Simply doing your job? Simply asking questions? Simply trying to make me look like a fool? Simply trying to have an honest conversation, Anderson said, his voice still remarkably calm given the situation. Harry threw the microphone back on his chair. Honest? There's nothing honest about this. You had your agenda before I even walked in here. That's not true, Anderson said. I came into this interview ready to listen to whatever you wanted to share. Lies, Harry said, his face red. All lies. You're just like the rest of them. You're just like the British press. You're just like everyone who's tried to tear me down. Anderson took a breath. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I can assure you, your assurances mean nothing to me. Harry cut him off. Nothing. Do you understand that? I don't trust you. I don't trust any of you. Then why did you agree to do this interview? Anderson asked. A fair question. Harry paused, seemed to struggle for an answer. Because I thought maybe you'd be different. I thought maybe 60 Minutes would be different. We are different, Anderson said. We're thorough. We're fair. We're professional. But we're also journalists. We ask questions. There it is again, Harry said. Questions. Always questions. Never just accepting what I say, never just believing me. Anderson shook his head slightly. In journalism, we verify. We don't just believe anyone, no matter who they are. That's how we maintain credibility. Credibility. Harry spat the word out. Your credibility is built on destroying people like me. Our credibility is built on decades of honest reporting, Anderson replied, his patience clearly wearing thin but still maintaining professionalism. Harry moved toward the edge of the set. I should never have come here. This was a mistake. If you want to leave, you're free to leave, Anderson said. But I think you should consider that walking out might send its own message. Harry turned around. What message? That I won't be disrespected? That I won't sit here and be attacked? You haven't been attacked, Anderson said, his voice firm now. You've been asked questions. If you can't handle questions, then maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. That was the moment. That was the comment that pushed everything over the edge. Harry's face went from red to purple. How dare you? How dare you tell me what I should or shouldn't do? You have no right. No right at all. I have every right to point out that if you're going to be in the public eye, you need to be able to answer questions, Anderson said, not backing down. The public eye, Harry said, his voice shaking with rage. I never asked to be in the public eye. I was born into this. I didn't choose this, but you're choosing to stay in it, Anderson said. You're choosing to do interviews. You're choosing to write books. You're choosing to make documentaries. Those are choices. Harry took a step toward Anderson. You think you're so smart, don't you? You think you've got it all figured out. Anderson didn't move. I think I'm doing my job. Your job? Harry said with contempt. Your job is ruining lives. Your job is making people miserable. Your job is feeding the machine that destroyed my mother and is trying to destroy my wife. My job is holding people accountable, Anderson said. Including you. Harry's jaw dropped. Holding me accountable? For what? For trying to live my life? For trying to protect my family? For the things you've said publicly, Anderson replied. For the claims you've made. For the accusations you've leveled. Yes, for those things. This is unbelievable, Harry said, pacing again. This is absolutely unbelievable. You get me here under false pretenses and then you attack me. Nobody attacked you, Anderson said, his voice steady. And there were no false pretenses. You knew this would be a serious interview. Harry pointed at the camera. Turn those off. Turn those cameras off right now. The crew looked at Anderson, who gave a small shake of his head. The cameras stay on. This is a recorded interview. Then I'm leaving, Harry said, moving toward the exit. I'm leaving right now, and you can air whatever hit piece you want. Anderson called after him. Prince Harry, if you leave now, we'll have to explain to our viewers why the interview ended early. Harry spun around. Go ahead. Tell them. Tell them that I refuse to be ambushed. Tell them that I refuse to sit there and be disrespected. I'll tell them exactly what happened, Anderson said. That we asked questions and you couldn't answer them. Harry's eyes went wide. You wouldn't dare. I'll tell the truth, Anderson said. That's what we do here. Harry stood there for a moment, visibly trembling with anger. You know what? Fine. Fine. Air whatever you want. See if I care. The truth will come out eventually. The truth is coming out right now, Anderson said, and you're walking away from it. I'm walking away from you, Harry said. There's a difference. Is there? Anderson asked. That question hung in the air. Harry stared at Anderson for a long moment. The studio was completely silent, except for the hum of the equipment. You're going to regret this, Harry said quietly, but with intensity. "You're going to regret the way you treated me." "I treated you with respect," Anderson said. "I gave you a fair interview. You're the one who chose to turn it into something else." Harry shook his head. "You have no idea what you've done." "No idea. I asked questions," Anderson said simply. "That's all I did." Harry looked around the studio, at the crew members who were all watching in stunned silence. "You're all the same. Every single one of you. You feed off people's pain." Nobody responded. The crew just stood there, not knowing what to say or do. Harry turned back to Anderson one final time. "I hope you're proud of yourself. I hope this makes you feel powerful." "This isn't about power," Anderson said quietly. "This has never been about power." "Everything is about power," Harry said bitterly. "And you people have all of it." "We have a responsibility," Anderson corrected. "There's a difference." Harry let out a sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "Responsibility. Right. That's what you call it." He started walking toward the exit again, but Anderson spoke once more. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry this is how it ended." Harry stopped but didn't turn around. "No, you're not. You got exactly what you wanted." "I wanted an interview," Anderson said. "I wanted a conversation. This isn't what I wanted." Harry finally looked back over his shoulder. "Yes, it is. This is exactly what you wanted. Drama, conflict, something to boost your ratings." "Our ratings don't depend on manufactured drama," Anderson said. "We've been on the air for over 50 years because we do honest journalism." "Honest," Harry said with a sad smile. "Keep telling yourself that." And then he walked out. Just walked straight out of the studio. The heavy door slammed behind him, the sound echoing through the space. Anderson stood there for a moment, looking at the empty chair across from him. He turned to the crew. "Did we get all of that?" The camera operator nodded. Still looking shocked, Anderson sat back down in his chair, composing himself. "Make sure everything is backed up. All of it." One of the producers came onto the set. "Anderson, should we try to get him back?" Anderson shook his head. "No." He made his choice. Let him go. Outside the studio, voices could be heard. Harry's voice, still angry, demanding to know where the exit was. Security trying to calm him down. Someone asking if he needed anything. "I need to get out of here," Harry's voice carried through the walls. "That's what I need. I need to get as far away from here as possible." Back in the studio, Anderson was reviewing his notes, his face unreadable. The crew was still standing around, processing what had just happened. "That was." One of them started. "That was an interview," Anderson said simply. "One that ended badly, but an interview nonetheless." The producer looked worried. "Do you think he'll try to stop us from airing it?" Anderson glanced up. "He can try, but everything we did was by the book. He agreed to the interview. He was free to leave at any time, and he did. But the way it ended," another crew member said, It's going to look like what it was," Anderson interrupted. "A subject who couldn't handle being asked legitimate questions. We didn't do anything wrong." More sounds from outside. Car doors slamming, engines starting, tires squealing slightly as a vehicle left quickly. Anderson stood up and removed his own microphone. "All right, let's pack it up. Make sure we have everything. I want a full transcript of that entire exchange." "Anderson," the producer said carefully, "this is going to be huge. You know that, right?" Anderson nodded slowly. "I know, but we'll handle it the way we always do. We'll present the facts. We'll let people draw their own conclusions." "He's going to say we ambushed him," someone pointed out. "Then we'll show them the footage," Anderson replied. "All of it, unedited. Let people see exactly what happened." The crew started breaking down the set, coiling cables, turning off lights. The energy in the room was strange, a mixture of shock and uncertainty. Anderson walked over to the chair where Harry had been sitting. The microphone pack was still there, thrown carelessly on the seat. He picked it up, examined it for a moment, then handed it to a crew member. "Make sure this gets back to the equipment room," he said. "Do you think he'll go public with his version before we air?" someone asked. Anderson considered this. "Probably. He'll want to control the narrative. That's what this has all been about, really. Control. So what do? We do our jobs," Anderson said firmly. "We fact-check everything. We verify every claim. We present the truth." Someone's phone buzzed. Then another. Then several at once. "It's already starting," a producer said, looking at their screen. "His people are putting out statements." "What are they saying?" Anderson asked. "That he was subjected to a hostile environment. That you were aggressive and disrespectful. That it was an ambush." Anderson almost smiled. Of course they are. Get our statement ready. Something simple. We'll say that the interview ended early due to creative differences, and that we stand by our journalistic standards. That's it? Someone asked. That's it, Anderson confirmed. For now, the footage will speak for itself when we air it. The studio was almost completely dark now, with only a few work lights still on. The space that had been so alive with tension just minutes before now felt empty and cold. Anderson gathered his notes and papers. Good work tonight, everyone. I know that wasn't easy. Was it ever like this before? A younger crew member asked. In all your years, have you had someone walk out like that? Anderson thought about it. A few times, but not quite like this. This was something else. Because he's royal? Because he came in with something to prove, Anderson said. And when he couldn't prove it the way he wanted, he decided we were the enemy. The producer walked Anderson toward the exit. This is going to be talked about for a long time, probably, Anderson agreed. But that's not why we do this. We do this because